I am 81 years old, and I have been sitting in this chair for the better part of an hour trying to figure out the kindest way to say what I am about to say. I have decided there is not one, so here it is. Most of you are spending your life on the wrong things. Not bad things, not evil things, just the wrong things. And I know this not because I read it somewhere, not because I have a degree hanging on a wall, but because I spent 58 years doing exactly that. 58 years. And when the fog finally lifted, what I saw underneath it, well, that is what we are going to talk about today. You have 12 minutes. I hope you will stay. I had a colleague named Daniel Marsh. We met in 1971. He was 34, then compact, quick-witted, always with a yellow legal pad under his arm, covered in handwriting so small you would need a magnifying glass to read it. Daniel was the kind of man who remembered everything. The year a poem was published, the middle name of your second child, the exact wording of something you had said to him 6 years prior. We were both high school English teachers. Same district, different schools. We would meet for coffee on the third Saturday of every month at a diner on Clement Street that smelled of burnt toast and good intentions. We talked about books, about students, about what mattered. At least I thought we did. Daniel retired at 62. His wife Carol had been asking him to slow down since their 50s. She wanted to travel, wanted mornings without alarm clocks, wanted him present in the way a man can only be present when he has stopped performing busyness. He kept saying, "Soon, Carol, just a few more years." He retired, and 6 months later, Carol had a stroke. She survived, but her memory, that fine, careful memory of hers, it came back only in patches. She remembered their honeymoon in vivid detail. She could not always remember his name. I sat with Daniel at that same diner about a year after it happened. He did not talk much. He stirred his coffee for a long time. Then he said, and I will never forget this as long as I live, he said, "George, she kept the years I gave her. I did not keep them for myself, and now I cannot give them back." I drove home that afternoon and sat in my driveway for 45 minutes without moving, because I realized I had been doing the same thing. We all had. We were keeping something in a jar we thought would always be full, and we were not drinking from it. Here is what 58 years of living the wrong way taught me. I am going to give it to you plainly, without sentiment, because I think you deserve plainness. The first thing is this: urgency is a lie they sold you, and you bought it. I spent decades convinced that the frantic pace was the sign of a meaningful life. Deadlines, meetings, the slight, satisfied exhaustion of a man who is always needed. I thought busyness was proof that I mattered, proof that I was building something. A former student of mine, a girl named Maureen, sharp as a knife, came back to visit the school about 15 years after she had graduated. She had become something successful in business. I do not even remember what. What I remember is what she said when I asked if she was happy. She looked at me with these patient eyes and said, Mr. Alderman, I am productive. I am not sure those are the same thing. She was 32. It took me until 70 to understand what she already knew at 32. Urgency is the enemy of attention, and attention, real, full, unhurried attention, is the only currency that actually buys you anything worth having. The second thing, you are confusing the record of your life for the life itself. We are the first generations of human beings encouraged to document every experience instead of having it. You go to the mountains and you spend the first 20 minutes taking pictures of the mountains. You have a meal with someone you love and you photograph the food before you eat it. You attend a concert and hold your phone up in front of it so that you might later watch the concert on a small screen. I know this sounds like an old man complaining. Maybe it is. But I raised my hand at my granddaughter's school play not to reach for a device, but because something was moving through me. Some wild, grateful recognition that this ridiculous, magnificent child was alive and mine, and I wanted to feel that, not capture it, feel it. The record of your life is not your life. Please, put the phone in your pocket. Look at the thing itself. The third thing, and I want you to hear this one carefully, the people in your life are not a backdrop to your ambitions. I was a good teacher. I was deeply, earnestly committed to my students. I read their essays at 10 o'clock at night. I wrote notes in the margins that some of them still mention when they write to me. I was, by most professional measures, exceptional. But my son Marcus, who is now 53 years old and a grandfather himself, told me something at my 70th birthday dinner that I have turned over in my mind nearly every day since. He said, "Dad, I always knew you would show up for a student who needed you. I just was not always sure you would show up for me." He said it without bitterness. He said it the way you say a true thing. I excused myself from the table and stood in the bathroom for a long time looking at myself in the mirror. Not in grief, in recognition. I had been generous with the people whose admiration was temporary, and I had been rationed with the people whose love was permanent. That is perhaps the central error of my life. I hope you hear it. The fourth thing, later is not a place you can get to. I cannot tell you how many times I said that word. Later, later, when the mortgage is paid. Later, when the children are grown. Later, when I retire. Later, when things calm down. And here is what I know at 81 that I could not see at 35. Things do not calm down. Time does not pause and wait for you to be ready. And the life you are postponing for later is simply the life you are not living now. There is no later. There is only now and now and now again, until one day, without ceremony, without warning, there is not. Daniel Marsh understood this too late. I understood it too late. I am asking you, right now, in this moment, do not let that be your sentence too. The fifth thing, and this is the one nobody wants to hear, you are going to die, not eventually, soon, in the scale of things very soon. I am not saying this to frighten you. I am saying it because it is the single most clarifying fact available to a human being, and almost no one holds it in their mind for more than a few seconds before they rush away from it back to the noise. I think about my death every morning, not with dread, with something closer to gratitude. Because when you understand, truly understand, that this particular morning, this cup of tea, this pale winter light coming through a window, this quiet room, will one day end, they become extraordinary. They become enough. Ordinary days are not ordinary. They never were. We just were not paying attention. I want to tell you about a Tuesday afternoon in 1987. My son Marcus was 9 years old. He knocked on the door of my study, a small room off the kitchen, and he stood in the doorway in his pajamas because it was after dinner and I had been in there since 6. He had a book under his arm, one of those illustrated chapter books children love at that age. He stood there without speaking for a moment, just stood there. I had a stack of essays I was marking, 32 of them. Steinbeck. I had 12 left. Marcus held up the book very quietly and said, "Dad, I just wanted someone to read with me." I told him I would be done in an hour. "Go ask Mom." He nodded. He closed the door. I finished the essays. I went to bed. I did not read with him. That was 37 years ago. I remember it with the sharpness of something that happened this morning, not because it was dramatic. It was not dramatic at all. It was just a Tuesday, and that is exactly the point. It was just a Tuesday, and I chose a stack of paper over my son standing in a doorway, and I cannot go back to that hallway. Not for anything in this world. Marcus is a good man. We are close now in the careful way that fathers and sons become close after years of learning each other. But I will carry that Tuesday for the rest of my life, because the door he closed that night, some small part of it stayed closed, and I was the one who let it. I have been thinking about what to leave you with. One true thing, the thing underneath all the other thing. Here it is. The life you keep saving for later is being lived by someone else right now. Someone who decided that the person in front of them was enough, that the morning was enough, that just this was worth being fully awake for. 58 years, I chased significance. I wanted to matter. I wanted to leave a mark, and I did in small ways. But the moments I carry, the ones that feel real, when everything else has faded, they are never the achievements. They are never the publications, the promotions, the certificates on the wall. They are the Tuesday afternoons I stayed, the Sunday mornings I did not rush, the times I put everything down and simply looked at the person across from me and thought, yes, this, here. You do not need more time. You need to be where you already are. I want to speak to you now, directly. You are going to close this video and return to your life. That is as it should be. But before you do, I want you to think of one person, just one, someone who is waiting for more of you than you have been giving. A child, a parent, a friend you keep meaning to call, a partner who has grown accustomed to your absence even when you are in the room. Think of that person. Hold them in your mind for a moment. Now, today, not next week, not when things calm down today, do one small thing, not a grand gesture, not a letter or a speech, something small. Show up 10 minutes earlier than you planned. Put the phone in another room. Sit with someone through something boring, and let the boring thing be enough. Ask them a question and actually wait for the full answer. That is all I am asking, one small thing, today. Because here is what I know at 81 that you may not know yet. The small things are not the small things. The small things are everything. They are the substance of a life. They are what you will search for one day when you want to know, when you need to know whether you were really here, whether you were present for the one life you were given. You still have time. I am speaking to you while you still have time. Please do not waste it reaching for something just outside your grasp while the extraordinary, ordinary life is happening right where you already stand. It is not too late, but it will be. One day, without warning, it will be. Go be with someone you love, now, today, while you still can. I have been sitting in this chair, trying to find the kindest way to say hard things. I am not sure I succeeded, but I meant every word. You gave me 12 minutes. I hope I was worth them. More than that, I hope the next 12 minutes you spend them a little more awake than you were before. That is all any of us can do, really. Wake up a little more each day until we do not. I am George. I am 81 years old, and I am still learning. You go on ahead now